All right, coming up here on the show, are the San Francisco 49ers going to trade Trey Lance, or could it get to a point where Lance demands a trade? There's some interesting stuff and some weird developments at 49ers training camp up to this point. We're going to talk about it here on the program. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Hope all of you out there are having a fantastic weekend. Before we begin, we're 110 people away from 82,000 subscribers. If you want more Niners training camp updates and coverage of San Francisco year-round and daily, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Really pride myself on giving you the most informative, insightful, and entertaining Niners analysis all across the calendar year. So if you're in the market for that, lock us in, subscribe to the 49ers Report, looking to get that YouTube plaque at 100,000 subscribers. So let's have a conversation here. And there are really so many elements of this discussion. Let's first start with the lack of reps that Trey Lance is getting so far in training camp, because I do believe that this tells somewhat of a story that I'm trying to uncover, and I'm trying to figure out why. 49ers practice reps the first 2 days of training camp. Brock Purdy, 41.6%, all with the first team. Trey Lance has gotten 21.8% of the reps. Sam Darnold at 18.8%. And lastly, Brandon Allen at 17.8%. On Friday specifically, Brock Purdy, 11 on 11 reps, all with the first team, 21 reps. Passing, he went 6 of 12 through the air. Trey Lance did not get any first team reps. He only got 11 total, and he threw a total of 5 passes. We know that Trey Lance needs reps and experience to develop, and he's not getting that so far in training camp. Sam Darnold, 11 on 11 reps. He had 10 of them. He was 3 of 7. And then Brandon Allen, 11 on 11 reps. He was 1 of 4. We're looking here at a situation where so far in training camp, Trey Lance, number 3 overall pick in 2021, is getting slightly more reps than Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen, as evidenced by the numbers above. Again, Brock Purdy, 41.6% of the snaps. Trey Lance, 21.8%. Sam Darnold, 18.8%. And Brandon Allen, 17.8%. So that's 3 percentage points of a difference in reps between Lance and Brandon Allen. Lance so far has attempted 14 throws through 3 practices. A year ago up to this point, it was 32. I do believe that tells a pretty significant story. The San Francisco 49ers clearly don't think much of Trey Lance up to this point, or they're lacking trust in him to get some of these reps, which he desperately needs. Trey Lance is a player who needs reps to develop because he's so raw. He's made 21 combined starts in his football life going back to 2019 at North Dakota State. Yet the San Francisco 49ers aren't giving him those reps in order for him to improve, make adjustments, and get the necessary experience that he needs to become a better football player. And his lack of reps so far in training camp tells a pretty massive story where him and Brandon Allen are basically going par for par, snap for snap, and getting their reps so far. Is the 49ers quarterback battle down to 3 spots with 4 players vying for those spots right now? If the Niners didn't like Brandon Allen, why would they continue to praise him? Why would they continue to give him reps almost as equal as Trey Lance? They clearly think that Brandon Allen can be a backup on this football team, and if that's the case, he would be a much cheaper backup than Trey Lance on a team that has some financial constraints. Trey Lance's cap hit the next 2 years, $9.3 million and $10.8 million. If San Francisco has an opportunity to trade Trey Lance and get out from underneath that money, I think they might explore it if they're not already thinking about it and exploring it right now. Are they hiding him in training camp because they want to not damage his value? Are they going to try to unleash him in the preseason to see if any teams out there will bite the bait? Why have Lance on this team at that price tag if they're not going to have a role for him and give him a chance to be the starter, which right now Brock Purdy is getting all of the first team reps, or give him any practice reps in general? Trey Lance is also struggling with what continues to be his biggest flaw, and maybe that's what the Niners see here. His biggest weakness? Accuracy. His first attempt on Friday, quick toss to tight end Braden Willis, ended up in the dirt. He threw it into the ground. His second throw, off target. He had Jordan Mason running a shallow route across the line of scrimmage. He threw it in front of him by 4 feet. His best throw of the practice session on Friday came on a play-action sequence, rolled out. He hit receiver Tay Martin for a big gain on the sideline. Later connected with Braden Willis on a short pass to his left. The splash plays have been there for Trey Lance. The consistency and the accuracy has not been. So I'm not saying that the 49ers should trade Trey Lance, but they clearly see something here where they have a lack of trust in him because he's struggling to make throws consistently. And in Kyle Shanahan's offense, if he sees the quarterback fail to complete the layups, he's not going to give that quarterback playing time. And right now, Trey Lance is struggling with accuracy. That's been his biggest problem, and they're not giving him reps. Now, could more reps lead to him becoming a better player and working on some of his flaws and weaknesses? For sure. But this is wild and weird stuff that's going on at Niners training camp right now. And it could also get to a point where Lance looks at this scenario and he says, they're not giving me any reps. Let's link up with my agent and let's demand a trade where I can go somewhere where I can actually play, restart my career, and get rid of some of the mental battles that I've had to deal with so far in my career. With the injuries, the quarterback competitions, the lack of trust that this organization has shown in Trey Lance when they were literally asked if they're going to trade him. And they said, yeah, we take calls on anybody. But when they were asked that same question about Nick Bosa, what did John Lynch say? We would never take those calls. That is not a vote of confidence in Trey Lance. So do you think that Lance will be on this team to start the year? Type on or off down in the comment section. Want to round out the show with this too, because this is a pretty cool story. Frank Gore joining the Niners front office in an advisory role. Started his NFL career with the Niners, third-round pick out of Miami, 2005 draft. Went on to become their all-time leading rusher with more than 11,000 rushing yards. He's top 5 all-time in rushing yards in the NFL. Holds the NFL record for the most seasons with at least 1,200 yards from scrimmage with 12. He made 5 Pro Bowls. Member of the 2010s All-Decade team. If Frank Gore isn't a Hall of Famer, who is? Has to be. And his eye for football talent and his football acumen has been something that this organization has leaned on, and they clearly trust him. Otherwise, they wouldn't give him this role, because there's been a lot of chatter about him sliding into this type of position for the last couple of years, and now they make it official. John Lynch, Niners general manager, with this. He'll go out on the road with some of our road scouts to make school calls. He has a smart football mind, and we want to tap into that, and he wants to learn from us. So it's a good thing for everyone involved. So a pretty cool story there where Frank Gore is returning to the 49ers in this front office capacity to be in this front office. And then ideally, when a guy takes a position like this, they're able to climb the ranks here and able to carve out a role for themselves in a front office just by climbing that path. So everybody type Frank down in the comment section here. An Iron Man throughout his NFL career. One of the all-time Niners great players, and a guy who you could consistently count on to be so productive and durable. And when you look at his career numbers, the production really was terrific. Like, he comes in as a rookie in 2005, and he rushes for 608 yards. Year 2, almost 1,700 yards. Year after that, 1,100 yards. 2008, that's year 4, more than 1,000, and then 1,100 after that. In 2010, played 11 games, still ran for 853, but to start his career, that's 4 seasons of more than 1,000 yards in his first 5 years. 4 consecutive, too, from year 2 in 2006 all through 2009. And then after playing those 11 games in 2010, he comes back in 2011, 1,200 yards, 1,200 yards, 1,100 yards, 1,100 yards. And then he goes to the Indianapolis Colts, and kind of unfortunate that he couldn't continue his career with San Francisco, but at that point, he's a 32-year-old running back. But he goes to Indianapolis and was still a pretty productive player. 967 yards, more than 1,000, 961, 722, 599, and then 653 to round out his career. After Indy went to Miami, Buffalo, and the New York Jets. But even when he was older, like still a guy who throughout his career averaged 4.3 yards per attempt. And the overall numbers are crazy. Right on the dot, 16,000 rushing yards on 3,700 carries. He rushed for 81 touchdowns. Not really a guy who gets enough credit for being a player who could also catch the ball out of the backfield. Like he sprinkled in some pretty good receiving seasons here. 485 yards in year 2, 436 after that, 373, 406, 452. Everybody kind of thinks of him as just that bell cow back who was really physical, but he was more of a dual threat back than people give him credit for. And I'm going to look up the top all-time leading rushers in the NFL. He's definitely top 5. Emmitt Smith first. Let me see. Yeah, he's number 3 all time. So Emmitt Smith first with 18,355. What a career. Walter Payton number 2. Frank Gore number 3, followed by Barry Sanders and Adrian Peterson. So again, if Frank Gore isn't a Hall of Famer, I don't know who is. Really, the conversation comes down to this sometimes when you talk about great players. Longevity. Tom Brady played till he was 45. Steph Curry, 35 years old, still at the peak of his powers. LeBron James is damn near 40 years old and still playing at a high level. He came into the league in 2003. Michael Jordan played for a long time, even though he took some time off throughout his career. When you talk about great players, sometimes longevity goes into that because it's about how you take care of your body and how durable you're able to be throughout your career. And Frank Gore really epitomized that. So, pretty cool note there as mentioned. All right, this has been the San Francisco 49ers Report. Appreciate everybody for watching. Whenever news comes out, you know we have you covered here on the show. That's why you got to subscribe. Hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll be back with Niners content all throughout the weekend as well.